Hi,
Hello.
welcome to Community Builders Show. This is Nurse Phill, founder of Supportworkerhub. Glad to have you all here and I hope you're all healthy. Today we have a really exciting guest. We're going to be doing something much more outdoors today than we normally do. I have the pleasure of introducing Hilary. Welcome, Hilary.
Hello, thank you, Phill.
So Hilary, give us what's the name of your business and what do you do for people?
Okay, so I'm a coach at Arundell Park Riding for Disabled. We're an independent RDA. People probably know the term RDA, but that's Riding for Disabled Association. We're here in Cumberbar, in the heart of the Gold Coast, on about 20 acres of beautiful land in the Cumberbar Conservation Area. So it's a really lovely outdoor setting. And we work with about 120 people with a disability come to us for a variety of equestrian activities every week.
Wow, so it's 120 every week.
Yep, every week. So we operate Monday to Saturday, usually about anywhere from about 8:30 in the morning to about 5. Yeah.
Okay. How do the participants go when they first meet a horse? How do they go with that interaction?
Yeah, good question. So for some people, I mean, I don't know of the listeners how many people have actually interacted with a horse, but they can be anything from sort of quite frightening, because of their stature, to sort of really magnetic and and somewhere in between for a lot of people. So some people, we're talking from children right through to adults. Some will be sort of mildly anxious, and some of them will be absolutely super confident or even overconfident. So it really depends. And quite often people will come and see what we're doing before they even start the process to become a member and participant of the organisation, and that's absolutely fine. They can look at the horses from we have a sort of car park and a seating area, and they can go and sort of have a look and have their lunch or whatever and just get an idea of what it's like here. Yeah.
Oh, so they can come and have lunch and just soak in the atmosphere and see what goes on, and
obviously letting us know in advance, but that's absolutely fine. So people can look over the fence at the horses and sort of, if there's any fear, they can sort of get over that. And the support workers themselves can come and have a look at a lesson. Again, just as long as it's booked in advance, we're really happy for people to look and see before they actually start the process.
Oh, that is good. Yeah, because like you say, horses are big, and some people, they don't know how they feel about them.
Yeah, exactly.
And same with the support worker, they've got to be there with the client, and if they don't feel comfortable, that's good. So they can come and book in and say, hey, do you mind if I just have a look before I bring my participant? I just want to feel comfortable myself.
Exactly. And we encourage,
is that right?
Yeah, we encourage that really to get to know what we do. And they're just, obviously if the sport workers are more informed, all the better, because then they're not going to suggest that somebody starts this process if they're really unsuitable in some sort of way. And probably the support workers know them best in that respect.
Yeah, so it's really important for them to go. What sort of can you take anybody?
Not everybody, but a lot of people. So we take an awful, a huge range of disabilities and abilities. So we have some contraindications for riding and driving, which are our main two sort of physical activities. So there are some exclusions, but our whole process is to do an inquiry form. We send out a medical form, so the medical form will go off to their GP, and on that medical form are the contraindications. So they're things like excessive pain, uncontrolled epilepsy, high things like I'm just trying to think now. I'm trying to think some other ones that. Oh yeah, so the weight's an issue. That can be an issue for riding. Oh. We have a 75 kilo weight limit for riding. We don't have that for driving, but we sort of do it on a case by case basis. And then we do have other programs where weight is no issue. So we have some ground based programs which are really open to maybe those people that wouldn't meet the weight limit, but otherwise can have an experience with the horses. Within larger adults, if they're in a wheelchair but they're not weight bearing at all, we just don't have, at this point in time, we don't have the facility to sort of hoist them on. So that would also be a contraindication for us. So, but the whole thing is that we have an assessment process, and that's where we would find what is the best program for somebody. So yeah.
What are some of your programs?
Okay, so we'll have so from the very young children, we have a high supports needs program on a Monday called Instep, and so that's generally a one-on-one. So, and some of those children will come with support workers. Sometimes it's with the parents, and so they might be having physical issues, or it could be social and communication. All sorts of reasons for coming here. So that's the one-on-one program on a Monday. Other than that, we have one-on-ones generally through the week, but a lot of ours are group, because group programs have great benefits for social skill development. So small groups of 2 or 3 riders, 2, 3, sometimes 4 riders. So that's our riding programs. And then we have a carriage driving program. So that's open to wheelchair and non-wheelchair clients, and that's great fun. That's one of the programs that I run, and we're hoping to expand that over the rest of this year. We also have what's called horsemanship development. That's a ground skills program. So that's again open to people in a wheelchair or ambulant people. And that's where they start to develop a relationship with a horse. So they'll work with a horse on the ground in the stables. They might be, depending on their ability, they might continue. So anything from sort of handling the horse and grooming, that sort of stuff, right through to, natural horsemanship. I don't know if people are familiar with that, but, liberty work, where the horse is completely free in an enclosed round pen. And they get to learn how to ask that horse to walk, trot and canter. And again, they don't have to be verbal. They don't have to be necessarily that mobile. We can do a lot of things, through wheelchairs. So we just teach a lot of skills. And then they can do the similar sort of thing and just have a sensory experience. So if somebody's non-verbal, unable to move themselves, they can still come interact with the horse. And we do have people that do that, and their support workers come in and physically help them to, like to massage the horse. We do a lot of stuff with aromatherapy, with the horses and with the participants. So yeah, it's really, really varied. And, the main thing is that they have some sort of connection with horses, which majority of people really start to love horses, or intrigued and curious, if nothing else. So yeah, it works in many, many ways.
Oh, that's good. What's that? Do you have a funny story of the buggies?
The buggies?
Yeah. Like if someone with the buggies, because I to me, when I think of those sort of things, I think of like Cobb and Co. Stagecoach.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So look, so at the moment we have one sort of fairly small pony who's doing all the work on the driving side. We have a wheelchair vehicle and a 4-wheel vehicle, but we're hoping to get this a pair of horses in. I think we're going to be the first RDA in the country to do this. But in terms of funny stories, I'm just trying to think. I mean, well, yeah, yeah.
There's always one.
Was something, but I mean, quite funny is the fact that a lot of people get in the carriage, and with when they take up the reins, if they have the capacity to at least hold the reins, so many people have watched the old Western movies, and they think they go, yeah, and then my first thing to say is, keep your hands still. Luckily our pony is pretty good. He stands still, and he's really good on voice commands and clicks. So again, they don't have to be verbal. So he will walk on a 1 click, like is 1, and he will trot on 2. So it's, and he'll go. So
Oh, right. Yeah.
with the driving, I have a second set of reins, so they're never on their own with it, and then we sit side by side. So yeah, it's I have a group of 4 ladies on a Friday who have really poor mobility, very anxious, startle response, and they are amazing how they have just blossomed with the driving. They love it, and they sit there because we do sort of group. We do. It's rarely one-on-one with the driving. We tend to be 2, 3 or 4 people, and then we sit them up in the paddock, and they all sit and they all cheer on, and we muck about with hoops and games and things, and they cheer their other group members on, and they just have a whale of a time, and it's like the highlight of their week.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Yeah.
So it's a real positive experience when they come out there.
Yeah. I think generally, I think as an organisation, so we're classed as a club, but so we're, we have membership for our organisation, but it's a real community feel to this organisation. It's a very safe place as well. So even with people, I mean, we have some young adults who have maybe complex diagnosis of PTSD, schizophrenia, trauma. Again, they often tell us this is a safe place. The outdoor environment, the nature, the horses, the support with our volunteers. We have a big volunteer workforce of about 70 volunteers.
70.
70. Without them, we would never operate. So
I'm a staff
member. There's about 4 or 5 coaches, staff members. But the majority of the support really is our amazing volunteer workforce.
Wow.
So yeah, without them, we're really.
Where do you find these people?
Well, they I mean, I don't know, they just come. I mean, people that are either interested in horses or people that are interested in people with disability. They just come, and we do our best to sort of retain them, to make it a friendly place. It really is nice, and it's a great community, a really, really nice community of people.
Sounds like a real community spirit. Sounds like you have a real community going on.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think our oldest, not oldest in age, but our volunteer that's been here the longest, Elizabeth, who's here today, I think she's been here 25 years as a volunteer. Wow. We've got quite a few that have been here 10 years. I started myself as a volunteer here, and I'm now on the staff. So yeah, I've been here about 7 years. And before that, I was here as a volunteer back to 2008. So yeah, been involved a long time.
What made you go from volunteer to coaching?
So I came in as a volunteer on the carriage driving because that's my passion. And then we had a change of organisation, and the carriage driving was dropped. And that was just the direction in which the committee took it at that stage. And then when I reapplied, to see if they'd be reinterested about 7 years ago, they said, "Oh, would you like to do some coaching? Would you like to become a paid member of staff?" So I said, right, fine, that's fine. So I trained then as an RDA riding coach, and then carried on and got the carriage driving program going again. So it took a long time to get it going, but you have to find the right horses. So with riding and driving, they've got to be the right horses for this place. So
where do you find the horses?
Sometimes we get offered them. So interestingly, we're working with Racing Queensland at the moment. There is a Queensland off the track program of trying to rehome racehorses, and you wouldn't immediately think that racehorses and RDA go together, but actually sometimes they fit really, really well because they've been very well handled by lots of people. And that's the same in our organisation, lots of people handling, because we don't have the volunteers every day. So the horses need to be able to cope with that. So yeah, sometimes people offer them to us. We've got a few leased ones. Sometimes we just look out for them, word of mouth, even go to some of the websites, and Horse Deals is one of the places we go to. Yeah, even Gumtree, sometimes you find horses.
Really?
Yeah, on Gumtree. Yeah.
Because I know I've got family that own property out near Mount Isa.
Oh yeah.
And the horses are so varied, and some are quiet and you can be on, and others you just go, you wouldn't get a saddle on, you know.
Absolutely. And yeah, and that's the same here. And we have a whole, you know, not only do we have an assessment process for our participants, but we also have a trial and assessment process for our horses, and they have to tick everything off. And we're going through that at the moment. We've got a standardbred and a who's going through that process, and just to make sure he's right for.
Yes. Yeah. Because that's brilliant. Is there any like story that you go, you saw a change in someone that came, and you know they were really like had a high anxiety or something, and you saw a change in their behavior? And
dozens of them.
Oh, really?
So people, you know, being around horses helps so many people in so many different ways. So often we'll hear parents tell us, you know, they can't focus at home, but here they're really, really focused. So we're sort of building on those sort of things, because they need to focus. And the horses themselves, without us having to do anything, it's sort of like a self sort of I'm trying to think of the right word, but the process happens on its own. You know, we don't have to force it to happen. People get more focused. They generally start to self-regulate around horses, because if they move too quickly, the horse moves, and that can scare them. So people really quickly work out that they have to modify their behavior around horses. So that's the great feature of horses, if you like.
Good.
Yes. Compared to, say, therapy dogs or, you know, guinea pigs and things, horses, you know, with their stature and the fact that they're flight animals, it works really, really well, really quickly. But yeah, I mean, we've had lots of times we have amazing transformation for people with physical disabilities, but probably the majority of the people that come here would probably either be on the autism spectrum, ADHD, intellectual disabilities, quite a few with genetic disorders or developmental delays, as well as, you know, traditional sort of CP, you know, MS, those sorts of things, and the trauma and the mental health problems. So it really is mixed, and success is, absolutely across the board. You know, it doesn't suit everybody, I've got to say. You know, some people will come and they're not engaged, and you need to be engaged. But I would say the vast majority of people are engaged. They come here, they have a look, and they really want to try it.
And they're really good. And that's good that they can come and just start off in the car park. Like, it's not like they have to go and jump straight in, is it?
Yeah, that's right. And it's always best to do that. Even to the extent that, you know, sometimes there's horses over the fence, and, you know, they might put their hand up over the fence just to see if the horse will come up and sniff them, you know, and that might be just enough to sort of get their interest. And we have a few little ponies. We have a little retired pony called Peppy, and his job is only ground skills. He's not ridden anymore, and he's absolutely brilliant with people. He's a great one if they're a little bit nervous, because he just stands there, and he often, you know, for our wheelchair clients, he often just puts his head on their lap and just breathes them gently, and it's just, you know, he's never going to bite or anything like that. So he's just you know, fantastic.
Beautiful. That's amazing. And do the support workers with the clients, do they help the clients? Like, do they sit with the clients, or do they have to?
Yeah.
Like,
so
do you hand over and that's their job done, sort of thing?
Yeah, it depends. Look, we would love to encourage more support workers to get involved in some way, whether that be to take photos that they can then go back to their clients at the end of the day and show them, or videos, that sort of way of supporting. For some, they need to be with their client, and so we'll do a basic induction with them, so that they're safe to be with their client. So for instance, if somebody's, say, in a wheelchair, and they are unable to move, or they're particularly anxious, then it's absolutely fine for the support worker to come down to the stables. What generally doesn't happen is, say it's a riding or a driving session, they wouldn't be in the role of a volunteer, because they'd have to go through our proper training process. Having said that, if they're in a wheelchair, they'll still come up with us, and they do actually quite often help load the wheelchair into a carriage. So that does still happen. But yeah, I mean, some people just want to have the downtime. Some support workers just want to, like, have that little break, and that's absolutely fine. It's whatever they want to do, but there are definitely ways in which they can be involved. Like I say,
and participate in the activities, and
in some sort of way to support them. And I think that's a really good idea. It's something we'd really encourage, especially through, I think, taking photos, because that's something they can take back to, if they're working with them for the rest of the day, they can go back and look at the phone or look at the iPad or whatever, and have that interaction with them, and it sort of takes it back to their to their home or community life as well. So yeah.
Oh, that's brilliant. That's brilliant. Is there anything I've missed out on our talk?
Something that I haven't mentioned, which actually comes into what we've just been talking about. So we have another program which I completely forgot when I and what's the main reason for talking to you today, and I completely forgot about it, and that's called ASDAN. So ASDAN is a life skills program. We are an international ASDAN centre. ASDAN is an educational charity and curriculum organisation based in the UK. Anybody can look it up. It's ASDAN. It offers programs and courses for people either with a disability or those that aren't thriving in normal school setting. So, for instance, at risk young people, and it's aimed between the ages generally of about 13, 14 to sort of mid-20s. Having said that, we do have people in their 40s that just are part of our group, that because it just suits them. It's not an upper age limit. It's just the programs that we run here. We do a preparing for adulthood program, and we do all sorts of things, from sort of meeting the people in the community, to dealing with money, to animal care, to crafts and that sort of thing. And the idea is, so we have a structured or semi-structured program. They'll get a certificate at the end. Just for your benefit.
Oh yeah, show us.
That's an ASDAN certificate that they'll get at the end. That's actually a work experience. Oh, that actually wasn't. No, that was one. That's a work experience one. So somebody do
work right. Yeah.
Work right. It's a work experience, which is another one that we do. But the main ones that we do are the preparing for adulthood programs, and also some short courses. Again, it just depends on people's ability. And they're a bit of a mixture of sit down and practical, and we incorporate as much as we can the horses into that. So we know, and I know this from working outside of RDA, that you can actually incorporate horses into virtually all aspects of the curriculum, because if people are interested in horses, then hey, guess what, they can study horses in history, they can study where horses came around the world in geography, they can measure strides of horse lengths, how far a horse walks. So there's so many things. So that's our basis on which we do this program. And in that case, quite often the support workers will be part of that. So they'll come and sit with us, and they'll support, whether it's to scribe or whether it's to help interpret something. So yeah, we really love ASDAN, and we run a couple of programs a week. And that one has, we've got lots of capacity in that program, lots of capacity in our horsemanship ground skills one, where they're going, grooming and stuff. We have a waiting list for carriage driving and riding. We're hoping to reduce the waiting list for carriage driving as we expand it, but our riding, there is a little bit of a wait list. But generally, if you come into one of the ground skills programs, much easier to access your way through, because we know you, we've done the assessments. So when there is a space, quite often we'll come to that person, because it's much quicker for them to get access into say riding or driving. So
that's good. So how would you sign up? How would they sign up to get on the waiting list?
So the first thing to do is fill out an inquiry form. So if they go to www.arundellparkrda.com.au, I think it is, or just Google Arundel Park, you'll find the website. So there's an inquiry form on the website. you fill that in with some basic details, height, age, weight, the programs that they might be interested in, and then some contact details. And then as soon as we have a space, we will contact either the guardian or the person themselves, and we start the assessment process. So they'll get a medical form, a membership form, and an individual needs assessment form, which is basically like an assessment of their physical abilities and their needs, their goals, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And then they'll come in for a 45-minute assessment. If it's riding or driving, they'll get a taster, like a 5 or 10 minute taster of that, just to make sure they're happy. And the rest is a sit down, just running through the forms. And then we allocate a class, and then they start coming. So we work on a termly basis. We do 10 weeks. We're sort of like allied to the school terms and the school holidays. So yeah, and then they'll get a slot, and then they start coming. In terms of funding, most of our clients are NDIS funded, so we are a registered provider. So if they're NDIA managed, we'll do it through the portal. Otherwise, we'll do the plan managers or the self-management. If they're self-managed,
yeah.
And
Brilliant.
Generally our fees are covered by NDIS budget, so either core or capacity building. So most of it's not outside. There shouldn't be any, apart from maybe the insurance and membership, which is a yearly thing. The actual session fees generally are covered by NDIS.
Oh, that's brilliant. What made you do the ASDAN course? What made you guys go, let's do the ASDAN?
That's probably me. I was working before I came to RDA. Back in the UK, I was a vocational trainer, an assessor in the waste industry, which is really weird, nothing to do with horses at all. So I'm really, really familiar with vocational education. And then when I started getting involved in sort of the therapeutic side of using horses, the organisation that trained me did a lot of this. It was all vocational based, and I just looked into what was available. And Education Queensland, some of their schools actually also do ASDAN, and across Australia there's quite a few community groups that run ASDAN courses as well. So we're not unique in that respect, but we are unique as we're the only RDA in Australia to do that.
That's brilliant. No, it's really good. And have you do they go on to get employment, or
they can? So yeah, we've got, I've seen a number of people come through who've been able to get employment, and it's something that we're really passionate about, expanding our capacity in that area. So we have one young person at the moment who is accessing SLES funding, so we do have the capacity to do SLES courses, but obviously because they're all bespoke. So this young person is doing a horse-based college certificate, which is partly online, and we're just supporting her with the practical side. So that's definitely the sort of way. We're also maybe in the future going to run a little coffee shop here and do some stuff like that. Our president is also the manager at the Southport Yacht Club, and so the hospitality side is something very familiar to her. So yeah, something we'd love to do here, and then get young people involved in that to get some more skills that way. So yeah, we're sort of like a very forward-thinking organisation. We're probably not your average RDA.
Yeah, no, you're covering a lot of areas, and really sound like you're giving people a lot of options where they can do a bit of self-care and reflection, and also build on their own skills so they can be more independent.
Absolutely, that's definitely what we're going. And in fact, one of the young ladies that came for carriage driving, who was really struggling at school, anxiety, Asperger's, not really fitting in, she would come here, and she used to say to me, the only things that are important in my life are my carriage driving and my computer at home. And now she's got a job working at the boatyards, and it's fantastic to see her being able to sort of be confident enough to do that, when before her life was quite insular. So yeah,
brilliant. That's a great story. So so she's managed to get out there and get herself going.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. Well, thank you for your time today. Just quickly again, just so everyone knows, your email address or the website address so people can find you.
Yeah.
Go.
We're Arundel Park, so that's ARUNDEL Park, PARK, RDA.com.au.
Lovely, jubbly. And I'll be able to find you there. Well, thank you so much for your time today.
You're welcome.
It's been amazing stories. And I see that like a lot of support workers can go out there and actually contact you and go up and just check it out. It's a great way just to start. Just come up, have a look.
Yeah, come and have a look, and then just work out who of your participants might be interested and where can we fit them in. Yeah, just talk to us.
And have it, and it's a good drive in the hinterland of Gold Coast. How awesome's that? You know?
Yeah, it's beautiful.
So they can come and say good day, and then take the next steps and slowly build themselves up.
Yeah, we even have koalas here, so you never know. We might be able to pull one of those off, get the koala out.
get that, a bit of a kookaburra. So yes.
Yeah, we've got lots of wildlife.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Well, thank you, Hilary. So really appreciate your time today and spreading the word with our Community Builders show, and look forward to seeing more people come and use your service and get up there and really help their clients get their anxiety and actually get their capacity to start to build and grow so they're more independent.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Like, wow. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No, it's fantastic. Well, thanks for your help.
Okay.
And yes, look forward to speaking to you again soon.
Yeah. All right.
Take care. Thanks, Hilary.
Thanks.